Okay. Inside the Redux, we have a one more important property called Thunk. Okay, there is one important property called Thunk. Okay, so this Thunk are to load data from the backend to frontend. Either we can directly use our fetch code or we can use the Axios library also. Anything is fine. Okay, but what their main aim is, they want to load the data and they want to update the state directly instead of writing two places. How are we storing our data? So far now we are creating, suppose if you are going employee, we are writing on hooks. Inside the hooks we are writing a api.js. Inside the api.js we are writing our Axios code. Correct, right? So here the code is to load the data from backend. Once you load the backend code, where you want to update data, store. Okay, again from here you are going to call the store. So to avoid this, what they have done is you can write that code also inside the store only. Okay, so this is a extra code where we are going to do like this. Let me try to do this one. Go to your slice file. Okay, let me go to my slice file. Where is our user slice file? Okay, now here what I want to do, I want to load my users, all users. Okay, all users. So there is a one function called, okay, there is one function called create async thunk. Okay, so you can use it. This thunk is coming from the Redux toolkit. Okay, so in in Redux there are two approaches are available. So one is a saga approach. In interview they will ask, one is a saga approach, another is a thunk approach. Okay, what is this saga, what is this Redux? Generally saga means there will be one center person. Suppose there is a component 1, component 2, component 3 is there. Okay, whenever I want to update the data, I will tell the center person, hey, I want to update the data. And actually you want to send message to here. Instead of directly communicating here, you will contact to here. Okay, this will communicate to information to here. Suppose this inform to here, again it will inform to this person, again this will inform to here. So who is the playing all the role? The center person. Okay, this design will call it as a saga design. Saga. Okay, saga design. Okay, but we are not going to discuss about the saga. We are going to discuss about the thunk approach. There is a, what is the second approach we are going to discuss? A thunk approach. Okay, in some interview we have learned this one only. In interview they are saying, yes, I know saga. Then what is a saga? Write the code. We don't know. Okay, that is the reason. If anybody asking, you say that, I know only saga idea. So in saga means there will be one center object. Every information will pass through that center object only. But I don't know, I did not work on that. We did not use in our project. We have used it like a thunk only. We have used it in our project. Let us see how to use this thunk in our project. Okay, so first step. So in Redux, what are the approaches available? Saga and thunk approach. We are going to follow the thunk approach, not the saga. Later we can see separate video for saga. Okay, so in thunk, first you need to create one thunk, create async thunk. Okay, you are going to create one thunk. Here you can write any name here. Okay, suppose I want to load all the user information. That is any name you can write it. Any name you can write it. That is the reason I am writing like a users and fetch users. Fetch means get user, fetch user, anything is fine. Any name you can write it. Okay, and second argument is a one ES6 function, and this ES6 function is take second is nothing but a second one. Okay, so how many arguments this thunk is taking? A two arguments. Two arguments. First is one name, second is a one function. Okay, this function, and suppose I want to make this function as async. That is the reason I am using a async keyword before this bracket. Okay, that's why. Whenever you are writing async keyword, what will happen? It will return a promise. It will return a promise. Okay. Now here I want, from which API I want to load the data. That API code we should write it. Suppose from our project, where can you identify all your data? You can go for Swagger. We know the Swagger, right? Suppose I want to load all the users information. So there is a users controller. There is a get API. Click on try and click on execute. So what is the URL? This is your URL. You are going to get the data. So copy here, and here you want to either you can use the Axios or you can use a fetch also. Okay, let us try to use a fetch. I'll use a await and fetch. Okay, and I want to use this one something like this. Okay, so now What is the code it is going to return here, ma? This fetch, it will first, it will get the data. Okay. And I'm going to store in one variable. You can store into one variable. From that, you need to extract the JSON, right? That is the reason you need to write another line also. I will say constant response is equal to something like this. Second step, I need to extract the data. Data is equal to response.json. This is the code already we have written in the API.js also. Now second step also done. And finally, whatever the data is there, right? Simply return this data. Okay, that's all. Suppose you want to load any company, whatever the URL, you just give it here. Normally, what we will do, if you want, where we will define all our endpoints, we are going to define our endpoints here. Suppose export constant users URL. Users URL. Let us write it here. Okay, something like this. I'm going to paste it. Okay, so now my user URL is ready. I'll go to my slice file and I'm going to import. So now let remove this one and use this one, control space imported. Okay, so now I have imported, everything is ready, right? So now generally what we will do, we will write a callback method and we'll update the state ID. You don't need to do all these things, simply you write like this. So this is the first step. So what is the method we are using? A async thunk, create a async thunk. So once you are done this one, go to your reducer here. Here we need to write some additional code to update the date. Okay, so this is some extra code, that is the reason they are writing a extra reducers, and we'll write like open bracket and a close bracket, something like this. Okay, so what is the method name? I'm writing a extra reducers. This is, you should write only when you are going to use a thunk. If you are not using thunk, you no need to write this code at all. Okay, now inside this one you need to use some method code. Okay, so this extra reducers will take like this is a some function. Let me write it as a function, something like this. So this extra reducers is like a function, okay, simple function, and you are going to write like this. Okay, so this builder, it will take one argument, nothing, that is nothing but a builder. You can write any name, that's not a problem. So I'm going to write some copy code, and the same code is available in the official website also. I have given that link, right? Same available. Let me try to explain what is this one. So I'm writing a builder here. So now first we need to write one case here. Okay, builder dot add case. Okay, now go and see what is the variable name you have keeping here. Fetch users, whatever the name you are keeping here, just copy it here. So it is a, this is a what is async method, right? Async method, what it will return? Promise. Inside the promise, what are the states available? 3 states: pending, fulfill, rejected. 3 states, right? In JavaScript, promise will have a 3 states. Pending means a progress, fulfill means a success, rejected means a failed. Okay, now they are tracking like a, if my promise is success, this is nothing but a fulfill. Fulfill means what state? Success. Okay, success case, then execute this method. That is the meaning. Okay, builder dot add case, I am writing a fetch user dot fulfill. If this is a completed, then execute this code. Okay, something like this I am going to write it. So now I will say, but the state, whatever the action is there, right, it will return a multiple data. For example, I want to print that data. Console dot log of action data payload. Okay, now what is the data I want to data? Fetch users, file, save all. Okay, but now we need to call this method from somewhere, then only we'll get the data. I'll go to my login component. Okay, go to my login component. Whenever your login is success, I want to load the data. So I'll come here. I will say, what is the method name? So let me go here. I'll use it. Okay, suppose I'll say dispatch. Okay, and what is my method name here? So in the user slice.js, what is the method name here? Fetch users. So let's copy here and go to this login.js file. Okay, so here fetch users and simply write like this and import it. Okay, import this method. So I'm writing a dispatch, and inside the dispatch I'm calling the fetch users. So whenever you are clicking login, you are going to call the fetch users. Automatically it will go to the thunk. You don't need to import this like API.js, nothing. In this approach, automatically will go. So file, save all. Okay, now let's see this time. I'll go to my React app, click on login. and check the console. Okay, there is no data. Click on login, admin, and admin. Click on login. See what is the data it is showing it? 13. Let's open here. Username AB, AB1, AB2, something like this. See, very important. If you open my Swagger, see user ID is 1, abc@gmail.com, age is something. Same data we are able to get it here. ABC1 at ID 1. Every data, whatever the data is available, same data here we are getting. Correct, right? That means we are able to get the data or not. Once you get the data, you can store into your Redux. Let us see how to store our Redux, this variable, okay? So that we can use it. So I will go to here. Now I want to use it in some other file. That is the reason I'll go to my user slice file. Now I want to share this data between multiple components. I'll go to this initial state. I will say users is equal to array. Why I'm writing array? There are multiple data is there, right? That is the reason I'm keeping a array. Okay, now I got the array, right? Here I will say state dot users. Okay, state dot users is equal to something like this. I will write it. Okay, suppose if this is not going to work, we will see this one. So I have written a users data is something like this. Now I want to print this users in some component. Suppose you will go to any component. You can go to any component and we can get that data. Let's see which component will go. We'll go for dashboard. Okay, let's go for dashboard component. Dashboard component. Now we want to fetch the data from the where Redux. If you want to fetch the data, what is the hook we should use it? Use selector. Okay, let's use that use selector. Use selector. Okay, and you can write like a something. So here we'll write instead of username this time what we want? Users. Let us store into one variable constant users, something like this. Okay, now I have done this one, and you can print it in anywhere. Here we are writing some cards, right? Let me say here something like this, users data length, something like this. And you can write, suppose if this is coming null, you can add a question mark. This will avoid the error. File, save all. Let us see here. I'll go to login. Again, this time we'll go to admin, again admin, and click on login. See what is the count we are getting it? 13. If you are able to get the count 13, can you able to display it or not? Display it. So wherever we want. If you go to our earlier example, in the dashboard here we are showing the count, right? 10, employee count 10, company count 10, right? That is how you should display. And if you go to this employee, suppose there is a users page, you get the same code here. You no need write API address, nothing. Simply go there and write this use dispatch and print it over there. So automatically, suppose you want to do it, let us do it quickly. One users component, inside the components, create one component. What is the file name? Users.js. Okay, inside the users.js, what is the code we should write it? Export default users function users. Okay, open bracket and we can close it. Okay, next return open bracket and close bracket, and we can write a div, something like this. Okay, here we can write like a users, and we can write a table also. Either you can write a table or you can write a card, anything is fine. Now first I want to get the data or not? Get the data. How to get the data? Tell me. What is the selector I should use it? Constant users is equal to use selector. I'll use it like a use selector, something like this. Now I got the users. So let's print that users count first in the line. I'll print like this. Okay, users data length. Okay, length. So now I want to print it as a table. Do you know how to write a table? Tell me. Table tag. Okay, and close this table tag first. Then table is done. Let us write a t head. Inside the table head, you are writing a tr id name. Suppose I want to write a id name. Okay, and username. Suppose let us see what is the data is there in the Swagger. What is the data here? I will zoom it. Username, email, mobile. I'll write only 3 properties. No need to write all the properties. Username, ID, username, email. 3 properties. ID, username. I will say email. This is enough. Okay. Now let us close this tr, close this. Okay, then you close the t head, then write the t body. Okay, write the, then first we'll close that t body, then we'll write the something. Now I need to map it, right? So what is my variable name here? Users. Okay, I will say users dot map. Inside the user, what is the data we are going to have it? User. So I will go have a like user, and I will write like a okay, something like this. Okay, let me write it here. Users dot map. So this map method will take like this. Here we are going to write a user and open bracket and something like this. Okay, just simple. It is overriding it. I'll say user, open bracket, something like this, return. Okay, tr and td will say email and username, and close the tr, and this return. Let this is a close. Okay, so now I have done like this. There is a t head and a t body. File save. But if you are going to save it, we are not going to display anything. Let us store into one already component is saved, right? Let us go to our app.js, and add one sidebar item. Okay, so I want to add one sidebar item. Let's go to sidebar here and add as a one sidebar. Let's click here, and I will say users. I will say users. Okay, so sidebar is created. That is okay. Now go to app.js and create one protected route. Do you know how to create a protected route? We can create it, right? Simply write like a users, and here which component we should import it? Users component. Okay, something like this. Now all are done. File, save all. Let's open it here. Okay, so users component. Let's click on users. See, all data is coming or not? Okay, this is how we can do it. Okay, and the last we are able to add the async thunk. Correct, right? How we are using this approach? Using the async thunk, we are able to get the data. We are able to print in one page, and multi in the dashboard also we are able to print it. But we have loaded only one time. This is the advantage, and we are able to print it in the two users. Okay, so I will click on the log out. Whenever you are logging, you are going to get the data.